Good morning. I am a stand-up comedian and a triathlete, and another thing I do, besides being a professor, is I am a somatic therapist, and I work with the most severe cases of trauma in society. I work with gang rape victims, acid attack victims, people who've attempted suicide, and this past year I worked with my first rapist. And we'll get to that a little later. But the topic I'm going to talk on today is how to begin a crime. Yeah. This is going to be a very interactive session. So I'd like to hear from you what you think. Give me examples of crime and give me examples of criminals that you can think of. The names of criminals. So give me examples of crime. Like murder is a crime, rape is a crime. Sorry? Robbery is a crime, corruption is a crime, arson is a crime. And can you give me examples of criminals? Sorry? Dhananjay, okay. And Jack the Ripper. Hitler, right? Most latest Nirav Modi, right? These are all criminals, and all of them, every rapist, every criminal, every person who commits a scam has elementally the same thing in them. And what is that thing? When somebody commits a crime, what are they essentially doing? They're saying that I want this, right? It could be money, it could be a woman, it could be power, whatever it is, I want this, and I don't care what impact it has on you, right? That's elementally what a criminal is, that we don't care. Now, all of us have parts of that within us. All of us want similar things. All of us want money, all of us want love, and all of us are capable of doing many things to get there. There is elementally a lack of empathy in crime. That for most of us, yes, I would like to date you, but I will not force you to date me. Yes, I would like to have money, but not at the cost of hurting you. Right? That's what we're brought up in society thinking. But a criminal is somebody who goes that one step further. Yes, I want the money. Yes, I want the girl. And I'm willing to make you very uncomfortable and take that which is rightfully yours. Make it mine. So there's a question of ethics in there. There's a line we cross when we become criminals. And why I'm really talking about that today is because all of us, every day, are touched by crime and will be. And some of us may grow to be criminals. Some of us may have descended from criminals. It's more around, crime is more around us than we think it is. I want to take a step back from when we do a definition of criminal as somebody who's broken the law. There is a legal law and then there is an ethical law, right? It may not, like until very recently, throwing acid on somebody was not against the law. It was against a woman's modesty. Now we have that under law. In India, marital rape is not illegal. Currently, it is not illegal. A husband can rape his wife, and it is not considered considered against the law. So is he legally a criminal? No. Is he ethically a criminal? Yes, right? Now if we take that line across all the criminals, that they have a lack of empathy. Now all of us are also at some level selfish. All of us at a certain level do lack empathy. We lack empathy towards the beggar on the street. We lack empathy towards our girlfriend when she says, I'm tired, I don't want to do this or that, I don't want to make tea or whatever. We do lack that. If we take a step back from that, is what causes crime? So can you tell me what causes crime? What causes rape? What causes murder? What causes corruption, financial scams? What causes this crime? Greed. Right. So let's take that as one. We have greed. 2. Sorry? Lack of? Fear. Okay, this I would dispute. I am a rape specialist. The fear of the law has never deterred crime. No one picks up a knife and says, you know what, I'm going to kill you, but there's a law against it. So I won't. Yeah? Law does not deter crime. We are incorrect in assuming that, oh, law nahi hai, we'll make a law and then crime won't exist. If that were true, today dowry wouldn't exist, murder wouldn't exist, rape wouldn't exist. This is why I'm talking about it, because if you take step by step with me, I will show you what causes it and what exists within us currently that can cause it as well. So, okay, so greed, fine, we'll step back on that. That's a tertiary cause, it's not the primary cause. But it is what seems to be, yeah, you know, why did he get thousands of crores? Because he was a greedy man, right? Okay, fine. On the face of it, that's what it looks like. What causes murder? Why do people kill other people? Revenge. Okay, revenge comes from a state of anger, right? So revenge is the action, the sentiment cause of it is anger or rage, okay? Why do people throw acid on their wives or on a woman that they're courting and she says no to them? So ego problem, okay? I would state that as an inability to take no for an answer, okay? Now, why do people rape? It's a mental greed. We'll get to that also, and I've looked at what the real causes of rape are, and India goes around looking for, let us not tint the windows of our buses. That's going to prevent rape. Right? I think in Puducherry, they were having their girls, schoolgirls, wear coats in the summer heat to protect them from rape. Right? So let's look at the real causes of rape, and we'll get to that in another second. Any other causes of crime that you can think of?
At some levels of acceptability?
Yes, there is. This is a very, very important one. What is normative or what is normalized? How many of you watched India's Daughters, the rape documentary on Nirbhaya? Yeah, so a few of you have, quite a few of you have. Now you'll notice a few things when the rapists were interviewed. He said, I did this, he did this. He put his hand inside her, pulled it out, and was her intestines. And one thing you'll notice is he's not lying. Okay, he's not like your shadi wala uncle, is like the hands going here and just like, oh, nothing, beta, nothing happened. Not lying. 1. 2, he said, why are you catching us? Everybody does it. Everybody does it. This is the difference between you and them, is where you were raised. I bet you if you were born in the same family as this man, raised the way he was, surrounded by your first exposure to sex was rape, would you not think that sex is rape and vice versa? It is normalized. If you were my child and I taught you that beta, to cut a banana you have to use a spoon, then all your life you're going to use a spoon. And then one day I come down and catch hold of your ear and put you in jail. How dare you cut a banana with a spoon? And you say, well, that's not fair. That's all I know. It's normalized. And likely, these men have been raped themselves, as my case was. Likely, they've been beaten. Likely, they come from a history of lack, poverty, or... Let me put you in a circumstance. What if all of you were my children? And I never asked you, did you have food? Did you brush your teeth? Would you like some water? I never offered you anything. Now, if you were to eat, if you were hungry, you had to take. Nobody's going to give it to you. Nobody's going to offer it to you. You have to take. Then would you not go through life taking where you can? You come from a mindset of lack. If we take a step back, it's a very harsh reality. When I worked with this rapist, it was very, very hard. It was very hard for me. And I was told, now this story was, this mother got her daughter to me and said, my daughter has been raped for years by her brother. And now she cannot touch, I cannot caress my daughter's forehead because she starts shaking and screaming. So I said, I'll work on her on one condition, that you bring me the boy also. And she said, that's not fair. We just found you after so much work. And my daughter deserves your care. He doesn't. They beat him, they threw him out of the house. He's like, he has no feelings. He doesn't even cry. We beat him and beat him and beat him. He did not cry once. This man has no feelings. So I got him in and I held him in compassion. As a therapist, I must establish safety. And this boy cried straight for 3 hours. And he cried in such a manner, I challenge anybody to stand in my shoes and not have your heart break for him. He was raped himself. He comes from a history of lack, of taking. And the story here is actually very beautiful. When he came to me, he said, I didn't do anything. Nothing happened. She's lying. She's making it up. I took him from there to taking full responsibility for it. And she was like, I want to beat him. I have so much rage inside me. I said, yeah, I understand. So why don't you take the stick and beat that bench? She said, okay. I said, how do you feel? She said, I feel better, but I still want to beat him. I said, okay, then why don't you beat me? So she would kick me across the room, very strong girl, 20 times over. I said, how do you feel? She said, I feel better, but I still want to beat him. Then a friend of mine, a male, and this is the pride of India, this man, 21-year-old, he stood up and he said, let her beat me, because I'm a man. Let her beat me. And he didn't do anything to her. He's never even met her. And this is the generosity of our men, that he's willing to take a beating because one girl has been hurt. Okay? We did not take up that offer. We went to the guy. I said, would you mind coming in for a beating? And he said, I will come in for a beating. When was the last time you saw a rapist acknowledge his fault? Rapist comes in voluntarily to take beating. He came in, and they were afraid he'd have the same sleazy smile that he used to have when he saw her. He had tears in his eyes. He said, I'm sorry, please forgive me. She beat him in 3 rounds. She beat him so bad he has cuts to his face. His eyes were bloodshot. Tears are falling to the ground. She beat him, and I tried to hold his hand to comfort him. He wouldn't take it. He said, no, this is for me to take. I did this. It's my responsibility. And he made no attempt to protect himself from the beating. He stood there and he took it. And I said, my child, this day you have grown from being a boy into a man. Today you can be the MD of your company because you know what it is to take responsibility. Which among us do not make a mistake? Which among us has not hurt somebody, even grievously? All right? What I'm trying to say is, where you begin a crime, at the very bottom of it, is you don't love yourself. If I was to ask you today, all of us have sexual desire, why don't you go around raping people? If I was to ask you seriously, why don't you rape people? Answer that for me. Why don't you? It's the easiest way, right? Why not? Can you actually think and tell me? Why don't you go around raping people? Loudly. Ethics. Because you were taught those ethics by your parents. What if I didn't teach you anything? What if that's what you saw your father do to your mother, your uncle do to your aunt, your uncle do to your sister? What he said was it's been normalized, right? For one reason or the other, these people don't know what respect and honor and love means. You cannot give self-esteem or you cannot give respect because you have none. In the United States, we say that you have to learn to love yourself before you can love another. Why we say that is for a simple reason, is if I ask you for an elephant today, you can't give it to me for the simple reason that you don't have an elephant to give. Why we say you have to learn to love yourself is because you don't know what the touch of love and compassion and gentleness feels like. If I drive myself really hard and I'm like, you, if I make a mistake, I'm like, you idiot, you don't know anything. The next time somebody makes a mistake in front of me, guess what I'm going to say? I'm not going to be touching them with love. I'm not going to be touching them with respect or honor. At the very basis of it, either because these children have had respect beaten out of them, that they know no boundaries whatsoever. And I know because I was raped when I was 5 to when I was 7 years old. Growing up, my friends said, you have no boundaries, do you? And then they said, well, where would you learn them? Because yours were so violently taken away when you were so young. I had to learn. So I made it a formal process for me to learn boundaries. 3 years ago, I went around asking my friends, what does it mean to love yourself? I didn't know. And if I was to ask yourself today, what does it mean to love yourself? Really ask yourself that question. You can, this is another topic we can talk about another time, or you can come and talk to me later. Unless you love yourself, you will go ahead and act out in disrespect, in dishonor, which one more step and it's crime. Even the thinking of it is a crime to me. Right? But the doing of it is legally crime. So I'm going to leave you with that. Thank you very much.